those of you who don't know, I am the older sister to the bride. So first off, I just want to say thank you to the Burketts for embracing and loving my family. I know we are a chaotic bunch, but we're worth it, I think. And then also I want to thank my family for being on time today. So growing up, Kat was my little sis. She'd always follow me around. She'd want to sleep in my room on the floor at night because she was afraid of the dark. She'd want to be a part of my sleepovers and pretty much just anything that I was doing. So fast forward today, around 15 years later, and she's a strong and independent woman who I confide in and I count on her. Keegan, because of who Kathryn is, I know that she's going to always be loyal to you. She's going to always be by your side, and she's going to look forward to spending lots of time with you. And lucky for her, I think that you'll probably let her sleep in the bed now with her forever, no more floor. Over the last 5 years, I've had the privilege of being a huge part in seeing Kathryn and Keegan grow as both individuals and as a couple. They have pushed and challenged each other, and I know that together, whatever goal they have in mind, that they can achieve it. I can honestly say that I couldn't be more excited for this day to be here. Today, going off notes for 1 second, today watching that ceremony from the position I was in, I felt very blessed to look at Keegan's face and to watch him look at Kathryn with love and just admiration, and I just don't have a single worry in the world about you two because I know how much you love each other. Okay, back to the notes. Let's see. It's been a long time waiting for this wedding, and I know that my sister is beyond excited to finally become a Burkett and to marry her best friend. Keegan and Kat, today you are surrounded by two families who love you beyond words and countless friends that can't wait to see your adventure begin as one. My wish for you is that God will always bless you with happiness, love, family, and that your life will be full of adventure together. But just in case a bump comes along the way, Keegan, and you make Kat mad, you can say sorry, or you could just get her a bar of dark chocolate and some Thai food to go, and she'll know that you really learned your lesson. I love you both with all my heart, so let's please raise a glass and cheers to the bride and groom, Mr. and Mrs. Burkett.
Caroline's tall, everybody. Let's keep the applause coming for Connor Burkett, everybody.
Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Burkett. Keegan's younger brother, but I'd like to refer to myself as his bigger brother. He's obviously got a few pounds on him nowadays. Anyways, if any of y'all are close to the Burkett family, you all probably might know that, Keegan and I weren't always the closest of siblings, throughout our first 10 or so years. I think our first couple of years were kind of defined by hostility. We really didn't like each other very much. And frankly, most of my early memories of Keegan and myself all revolved around beating the crap out of each other. If I had one word to probably describe Keegan as an older brother growing up, I would probably choose the word antagonistic. And a lot of y'all probably wondering why I would choose that word, and there's plenty of good explanations. All right, I'll give you a couple of stories. So flashback about 10 or so years ago, Keegan's hanging out with two of his really good childhood friends, Ben Wellick and Jeff Roper. They're all hanging out in our basement, having a good time. And me being the pesky little brother that I was hanging out with them, and evidently Keegan didn't want me hanging around that night, to say the least. So I'm hanging out with him or whatever. Keegan, calls me a couple of names. We won't get into, what exactly he said. But, at the time, we had a pool table in our basement. The Burkett household, we had a pool table with a bunch of pool sticks laying all over the place. And so Keegan started basically screaming at me, and so he actually grabbed one of the pool sticks and snapped it across his leg and threw the two halves of the pool stick at me. And so in retaliation, I grabbed the two halves of the pool stick, and if you can imagine, they were both, kind of like swords or spears because they're really sharp. And I started sprinting at Keegan, trying to stab him with these two halves of the pool sticks. And luckily, nothing bad happened. But honestly, that was probably one of the more vivid memories that sticks out from my childhood. Let me continue. Let's see, sorry y'all. There was another instance where Keegan and I don't know if he recalls, but we were talking about this during his bachelor party a couple weeks ago in Santa Fe, New Mexico. But I remember we were in my mom's minivan, and we were going to a soccer tournament at Cosmo Park. And Keegan was in the front seat, and I was in the back seat, and I was really, pissing him off for some reason. Like I always did, evidently, throughout our childhood. And so he got to the point where, Keegan was so mad at me that he reached in the glove box and took out a pencil and stabbed me in the leg with it. And to this very day, I still have that piece of lead in my leg. And we were talking about it, at his bachelor party a couple weeks ago, and he denies that he did that. And then I look at him and I'm like, Keegan, I didn't stab myself in the leg with a pencil. Like, it's definitely you, man. We'll get to the punch. I can remember the first day I found out Keegan was, actually dating Kathryn. I was home from winter break. I went to undergrad at Tulane University down in New Orleans. And so, I walk in my front door, and, I get settled in or whatever. I look at my mom. She's like, hey, Keegan's got a new girlfriend. And I'm like, okay, well, what's her name? And then she's like, oh, well, she went to, Rockbridge High School. We all went to high school. And I'm like, okay, Mom, what's her name? And then she's like, oh, her name's, Kathryn Curley, do you know her? And I'm like, hell yeah, Mom, she's a year younger than me. And, Keegan's 4 years older than I am. And, I kind of put two together, and I was like, why the hell is my brother dating Kathryn Curley at the time? But that was obviously a premature comment. I didn't really know Kathryn at the time. After getting to know Kathryn, I quickly realized that Kathryn kind of embodies the person we all try to be. She's, beautiful, she's intelligent, she's extremely, friendly to everyone she meets. And so, I quickly, that initial first impression definitely wasn't accurate. I guess what I'm trying to say is that Kathryn, the Burkett family is extremely excited to welcome you to the family. We're an interesting bunch. If I had one piece of advice, it would probably be to not talk politics with Tom Burkett. He's super hardcore liberal. I mean, everyone has a different, viewpoints on everything. Don't ever try to argue politics with Tom. So, and I like to raise a glass to Kathryn and Keegan. This is to life, to love, and to Mr. and Mrs. Keegan Burkett. Cheers, everyone.
Connor Burkett, everybody. Just one comment about this with the lead in the leg. Was that really necessary? I mean, I understand. My brother still feels the same pain. Anyway, please welcome one of the maids of honor, Taylour Wilson, everybody.
Hello, my name is Taylour, and I'm the maid of honor. Kathryn and I first met when we were 9 years old, and we used to say that we became such good friends because we went to private school and everyone else was weird. And so we had no choice but to be friends. But looking back, I'm more tempted to think that we were the weird ones, and so we had no choice but to be each other's only friends. Growing up, our childhood was always entertaining, to say the very least. Whether it was me convincing her to wear a Queen Elizabeth Halloween costume to our choir concert in 4th grade, or her bringing her dog to school senior year, and Julie then having to come pick her up from the principal's office. So Kurt and Julie, thank you for putting up with so much. Also, I'd like to say thank you to my loving parents who, for some reason, continually let Kathryn and I have sleepovers in elementary and middle school, even though 9 out of 10 times they ended in my mom driving Kathryn home at 1 in the morning because I would snore so loud and she would cry her eyes out just begging me to go home. That is a true story. It happened probably like 100 times. So in college, our friendship changed a little bit because Keegan became our third wheel. I've always admired how passionate Keegan is, whether it's his work, his interest, or about Kat. It's just so evident how insanely in love you two are, and that is something that's truly beautiful. And I know that you show one another endless amounts of unconditional love, and I know this because Kat, you've shown me that for our whole 14-year-long friendship. And I've genuinely never had a more loving friendship than the one Kat and I share. So Kat, thank you for loving me through the worst of times and the best of times, and I think it's pretty safe to say this is the best of times so far. So cheers to the bride and groom.
And now last but not least, please welcome Zach Hockett, everybody.
I think they made me go last because they were hoping that you all would have drank enough by now that you won't remember anything that I'm about to say. But real quick, if we could just take a second and acknowledge how good looking Keegan and Kat are tonight. I mean, they're beautiful. In all seriousness, just want to thank Keegan and Kathryn's parents for last night and tonight, and just allowing all of us to be part of this special event. So, for those of you that don't know, my name is Zach, and I met Keegan in high school when some of us had this stupid idea to buy a snow machine. We were going to hook it up to a pressure washer and make snow, but we needed money to buy it, so we started fundraising. I'm pretty sure it was Cooper, it's sitting over there, who said, yeah, there's this guy Keegan who likes to ski. I bet we can probably get him to throw down on this snow machine. So a couple days later, I'm walking through the stairwell at Rockbridge High School, and Keegan passes me, and he's like, hey, I'm Keegan, you know, I'm Zach. We introduced each other. He hands me $40 in cash, and then walks on his way. It's like a crazy drug deal or something. So anyways, we got the snow machine, and of course it didn't work. I have no idea where it went, and I definitely did not intend to refund our investors. So somehow Keegan overlooked that first bad business deal that we had together, because later he asked me to go in on another one, but with him. So sophomore year of college, Keegan convinced me to enter a pitch competition with him. We were in this entrepreneurship group that was hosting a business pitch competition really similar to Shark Tank. And if you win, you make money. It's really, it's a cool event. But if you know Keegan, he's always looking for a way to make some cash with a side hustle. So this was perfect. Anyways, we put together a business plan and a pitch deck, and we call it Capture the City. It was essentially a web platform for photographers to upload photos. And then it was all location based, so then as a user you'd come to the website and kind of get a tour of the city without actually being there. But we draw up this business plan and we get ready to pitch our idea in front of a panel of judges. Now keep in mind that we both get really nervous talking in front of people, like I'm freaking out right now. So we start talking, and I'm talking first, and I start sweating, and like sweat's like running down my forehead and into my eyes. I'm having trouble seeing. And we keep talking, and then it's the part of the pitch where we hand the mic off to Keegan. And I look over at Keegan, and his leg, his left leg is doing like the stanky leg, if you've ever seen the dance, like it's like going crazy out of nowhere while he's trying to talk. So, I mean, it was crazy. But somehow, despite this issue of sweat in my eyes and not being able to see anything and Keegan's leg going nuts, we get third in the competition. And I really think this is when Keegan and I's friendship was solidified. I think we were just eternally bonded during those 3 minutes of sheer social terror. So senior year of college, a couple of us guys and my now wife were driving out to Colorado. We always drove through the middle of the night as to be forced to not look at Kansas. It's like 1 a.m. in the morning and we're near Topeka. Keegan's not with us, Cooper's driving, and my phone rings and it's Keegan. Keegan's like, "What's up, man?" Again, it's 1 in the morning. He's like, "Are you out tonight?" I think maybe this is like post-Harpo's or something. Now, I had told Keegan that we were going on this backpacking trip and that he should probably come about a week before. But I guess I didn't catch him at the right moment. So I'm like, "No, man, we're driving to Colorado right now." And Keegan's like, "Wait, I should probably come." I kind of laugh. And he starts asking me how long we're going to be out there, and I give him the details, and he says, "Yeah, I think I should probably come." Like, "No, dude, like, we're on the trip already. Like, you can't come anymore." Anyways, we start talking, and I'm like, "We left 4 hours to go." And he goes, "Well, you're going through Denver, right?" And so I start to see where his mind goes. Keegan's a really creative son of a gun. So we're driving through Kansas. Keegan's thinking, "Okay, you're going through Denver at this point." So I put the phone down, or he puts the phone down, and I hear him mashing buttons on a keyboard. Silence. He goes, "All right, I found a flight that lands in Denver at 7 a.m. Again, it's 1 a.m. right now. There's no Columbia to Denver flight at this point. You know, this is like 6 years ago. So he's looking at a flight that leaves in 4.5 hours from Kansas City. It's going to take him like 2.5 hours to drive there. It took me like 6 hours just to pack. We're going backpacking for 4 nights in the wilderness, not like going to like grandma's or something for the weekend, you know? So we just kind of go back and forth for a little while. And all of a sudden, Keegan's like, "Okay, I booked the ticket." I make him send me a screenshot because I don't believe him. The whole car is awake now. The screenshot comes through. And we're super pumped about this proposition that Keegan is going to try and fly over the top of us and land in Denver, and we're going to pick him up there. So at this point, the story gets a little blurry. If rumor has it correctly, Keegan went to his parents' house to grab his gear. He packs like a pair of jeans, a sleeping bag, some Burt's Bees face wipes, and probably some kale. This is all before Tom finds him rummaging around the house at 2 in the morning. Tom doesn't believe Keegan when he says he's going to Colorado and kicks him out of the house. So Keegan's like, "All right, well, I'm going to drive to Kansas City." He misses the flight, literally missed it by like 5 minutes. But luckily there's a flight in 1.5 hours, and so he hops on that one. We pick him up in Denver, it's great. So we go on the best backpacking trip ever, and I think there are probably some more details that I'm leaving out about him suddenly going missing from work for an entire week with like no announcement to the boss or anything like that. But the point in all of this is that when Keegan locks his sights on something, he really commits to it, even when the ducks aren't all lined up for him. And I think you can really see that in his love for Kat. We were going on another trip out west when Keegan had this idea that he may be interested in dating Caroline's little sister. And when I say little, like really little, like younger than my sister. Like Kat grew up in my house, like probably since the age of, I don't know, like 6 years old. And so, not just like a legal little, you know? But that didn't stop Keegan. When he finds something he likes, he's going to do whatever it takes to get it. No, in all seriousness, once Keegan and Kat started dating, we all knew something was different. We were seeing things in Keegan that we had never seen before. You were genuinely happier, less worried about stuff, less anxious. You guys started going to church together. As cliche as it sounds, Kat was really bringing out the best in you. I'm so pumped for the journey that you guys are about to begin today. I've only been married a few years, but it took me about 24 hours of marriage for it to start exposing my weaknesses and my insecurities. But the beauty of marriage is that you're in an environment where you can be fully known to the core of your character, and your marriage vows are what's going to bind you together. He's not going anywhere, she's not leaving, meaning your weaknesses can be shown and you don't have to try to hide them. Instead, you can admit your shortcomings together, you can help one another grow, you can build each other up, and you're going to pick up the slack where the other one falls short. And you guys already do this. You're each other's greatest advocates, so I'm really excited to see where your life now together goes. So if we could go ahead and just raise a glass to these beautiful humans. Cheers.
Zach Hockett, everybody. And now I understand that we do have, I believe, the father of the bride willing to speak. That we do, that is correct. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carroline to the stage.
Thank you very much. This is our privilege for the second time in 14 months of having a daughter's wedding. So I might be better this time than last time, which goes well. That said, the bad news is, unlike Mary else, I have the notes prepared, as you can see. I have discovered smartphones. The good news is clearly it's not going to take very long. The first thought is that I've heard more than once that it really is atrocious. The cradle robbing that Keegan attempted. The one point I would point out in his defense is that Kat's mother and I are 9 years apart. Which kind of was going to make 5 years less egregious. It's interesting the dichotomy between the two families. The Curtis go on vacation, they go to a beach somewhere, sit in a lounge chair, and don't get off the lounge chair until it's time to go back in for the day. The Burketts go to New Mexico and climb 12,000 square high peaks. Kathryn's still adapting, but I think she's making progress. I knew Keegan was going to survive and be a keeper after the first 2 years. Then we had a lot of Sunday night suppers. Eventually, though, about 3:30 before supper started, Kathryn would drag Keegan by the hand and go upstairs and have a discussion. 2 hours later, Keegan would come back and he'd still be there. I warned him. Right, Keegan? I warned him. That said, it's our privilege and blessing to have Kat and Keegan become a union. We're blessed. I told her I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell her one quick story about my daughter. Over the years, there's a stairs going up, and at the bottom of the stairs there's a mirror, and she would stand in front of the mirror there on the stairs and look at herself.